also want to show you how to make a graph of the results in Excel. A good graph should illustrate the main results of the study at a glance. For a dependent means t-test, what you want to illustrate in your bar graph is the difference between baseline looking and after song looking. So we're going to make this in Excel. All right, so here are our steps. We're going to open up Excel. And we just have to enter a little bit of information in the Excel program. And you want to set it up like that. So mean, standard error, and you're going to enter the mean and standard error for the baseline and then the after song condition, or after song times. Right. So where do you get this information? You may be wondering. And so you can see that I've indicated you can find these in output 9 and 11. Okay. Go all the way back up to our output. Here's 9, right? There's the means, and 11, there's the standard error. Okay, so after song looking goes first. So that is 0.521, and the standard error. Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. It's baseline. Right after song is 0.593, and standard error for after song 0.06. I know I'm kind of being sloppy with my rounding, but we'll just leave it there. It's fine. Baseline looking 0.521. The standard error here is 0.03. Okay. So now we have our information. That's all we need for Excel to do its magic. All right, there we go. So now we have the correct information here. We are going to highlight these columns, okay, columns A and B here, the information we have in columns A and B. We're going to go to Insert, Recommended Charts, and it's going to automatically appear. It's going to automatically suggest clustered column. That's great. And there we have it. It's going to, we don't like this title. We are going to call it something else. What are we going to call it? We're going to give it a title. Actually, I'm going to just delete the title for now. Okay, there we go. Delete the title. We're going to change the y-axis range. Okay, you can see that it sets it up to look like the effects are larger than it actually is. See how the y-axis is set up only ranging from 0.48 to 0.6. That's a little bit misleading. You always want to make your y-axis to be the full range of the variable, and our variable, the y variable, was measured as a proportion. So you really want our y-axis to range from 0 to 1. So you're going to click on the y-axis, okay, and you can go to Format Axis, right-click that. If you right-click on the y-axis, you get Format Axis, and you see that it allows you to change the minimum and maximum bounds. And we're going to change the minimum to 0 and the maximum to 1. Right. So there we go. So there you can see once we change it from 0 to 1, it just better demonstrates the small effect that we found here. Yes, you can see there is an increase from baseline to after song looking, but it's small, and this y-axis now presents a more accurate depiction of that small effect. Okay, so now we can create a title. We now want to create a title for the y-axis, and we can do this by clicking on the chart elements. You can go to Axes Titles, and you can specify primary. We don't need one for primary horizontal. I have one for primary vertical. Oops. Sometimes we can get carried away with clicking here. Axis titles, primary vertical, and let's call this portion. Oh, look, I said that's not great. What we want to actually say, yes, you want to have your y-axis be a good representation of what the variable actually reflected. So what I say, proportion of time spent looking at the familiar song face. Something along those lines, something descriptive. And that's a little bit long, so you're going to want to resize your chart so it fits that y-axis title in nicely. Okay, then the last thing you want to do is make something called error bars within this chart, and that's going to give you the confidence intervals. And so this is something that you'll often see when you are reading through journal articles. You'll see bar graphs that look like this, and they have kind of little lines that extend upward and downward. And so in order to do this, you have to follow a couple of simple steps in Excel. And you can follow these steps exactly as I have them written out here. Okay, so chart elements, which is the little plus sign there. And if you go to error bars, you go to more options, then this will pop up here. In the error bar options, all the way down here to custom, okay, and then you specify value. So here is where it can get a little bit just finicky. So make sure you follow these instructions carefully. So you'll see that it has a positive error value window. You click on this little arrow button, and what you're going to do is highlight the standard errors for both baseline and after song looking. That's what you do. You're just highlighting those errors, standard errors. And then you're going to go back here, click on negative error value, and just do exactly the same thing. Highlight those standard errors. And then click on the arrow again, and you're going to click OK. Right? And that's all. So there you get your error bars, right? And I guess I'm sure you've seen these kinds of bar charts in journal articles that you've read, right? It's just presenting the confidence interval around the mean, basically. So that's nice to have. Okay. And so once you've created a chart like this, you can copy and paste it into a Word document, and it's usually used as an accompaniment to a write-up of the results. All right. Let's do this. Okay, so you can see here just on the instructions, I have pasted this chart into a Word document, and just following along with APA style, this is what you do. So notice there's not a figure title within the body of the figure. APA style, the convention is to present a figure title, which first is figure 1. You're always numbering your figures. So in this case, it's figure 1 because it's the first figure in our document. And then you give it a descriptive title below the figure 1. Okay, so descriptive titles can be a little bit tricky. The one that I've come up with for this is mean proportion of time spent looking at the familiar song face at baseline and post-song phases of the study. Okay, so you can see that there's the baseline and after song. Each has their own bars, and from just a quick glance at the figure, you can see that the after song mean was higher. So the proportion of time spent looking at that face increased from baseline to after song. Okay, and that's how you create a bar chart in Excel that depicts the results of a t-test for dependent means.